Hello everyone, welcome to my Nature Diaries. Today I'm going to be sharing with you obviously my latest spread, but also I want to share with you how I got from a blank page to the end with the 7-step watercolor layout for your nature journal. This first step is to prep before your hike or walk. This step has helped me so much before I go out on any walk, and that is to have an idea of how many subjects I would like to journal. When I'm considering a layout, I like to decide a little bit beforehand that I might want to focus on one item or multiple items, maybe one item in mass, or 3 seems to be the big number that I like the most. I think 3 plants work really well in the size journal that I have. So having this number in mind really makes me focus on getting reference pictures and any other video that I might need, or even collecting plant specimens of the things that I think I might like to include in the spread. And I'll gather as many photos references as I can find. The next step is choose from your reference photos. Once you get back to your studio, this is the time when you're going to sort through everything from that walk or hike and kind of look for something that feels similar, maybe colors or maybe subjects that are telling a story that you would like to put in your layout. Once I have those 3 photos, I go on to the next step, and that is use layout shapes. I made a video all about how I like to use these squares and rectangles in my nature journal. It helps me to compose the photos. It gives me just an idea of how it's going to look aesthetically. I'm a visual creator, so having this in front of me really helps me to be able to narrow in all my choices and really start making some great decisions. I'm choosing my layouts based on the direction of the plants. I like them facing or moving in towards the center of my spread, and that's why you can see here I'm kind of getting an idea where I want to place them using the photos themselves. Feel free also to make any adjustments you might want to your pictures to make them work for you. Try taking video of subjects like insects or birds or animals. This way you can take the video, stop it, and then go through your stills until you find a pose or picture that you like the best. After that, I scale it up and decide what I like, and then I go ahead and take a screenshot. I immediately put this into my editor. Just all I'm going to do is crop it and make it look more aesthetically pleasing. And by doing this, you are already creating a little painting idea for yourself that you can use for your reference photo. If you are keeping your background white, you can lightly draw in these shapes into your layout, but I'm not going to be doing that for this, so I'll show you what the next step is. Choose your color story. This is the fun part, and really happens when I'm looking at my reference photos. I'm already looking and noticing what colors are kind of popping out at me. What is it that I'm noticing and I really like, and how can I make these photos and references work together? The pop of red in these jack-in-the-pulpit berries is echoed in the stem of this white beanberry plant. So I already have a color story going on between those two, and then I'll incorporate the reds because of these reddish browns in this pearl crescent butterfly. Before I get to those paintings though, I'm going to work on a background, and this is where I pull out my Windsor Newton Cotman color palette. These are the standard colors I use pretty much all the time, and that makes the whole journal cohesive as well. I'm just pulling on all my beautiful yellow ochres, burnt sienna, raw umber. I'm going to use cadmium yellow, and then alizarin crimson and cadmium red, as well as other colors that you'll see later on as I pull these paintings together. You can see by looking at the palette and the photos how much they work together. And I love this color combination. There's so many colors that I put together in these journals that I wouldn't even think of. And this is really how I get my inspiration for my nature journal layouts. Adding these colored backgrounds are completely optional in your nature journal. However, I really like how they tell an additional story to this particular layout. Here I'm trying to recreate the feeling and texture of the leaf litter that I saw along the forest floor when I was on our hike. By using these warm, rich browns and golden tones, it basically is communicating autumn without me having to say, hey, this is a fall hike. A color story in your nature journal can be a really powerful way, again, to communicate warmth, cozy feelings, and just anything else that we're trying to express. So feel free to try to use these techniques in your own journal if you haven't done so already. I think you'll really enjoy it because I know I have. Our next step is draw your subjects. Now that my background is done, I'm going to just pencil in a few of these shapes so I know where my paintings go. And before I draw, one tip I want to share with you is to try drawing your pictures in pencil first. This may feel obvious to a lot of you. However, there are people who tend to comment and say they feel guilty for drawing in pencil first. So I would say just do whatever is the most convenient for you and gives you the most confidence when you're making your art. I usually draw in pencil when I'm in studio, and then I will go ahead and use pen and ink to finish it up. Drawing in pencil first is a real confidence booster for me, especially if I want to make any changes later on in the picture. Another tip is to pencil in simple shapes. A lot of times I will just draw a basic outline of something like this butterfly, and then I'll use my pen to fill in more details. I also will use watercolor to fill in details as well, and then maybe go back in with my pen. Your next step is paint your drawings. The reason I like to draw something first and then paint it is it just is a way to pull in the whole composition for me. It's also a way to practice drawing. If you would rather paint your items first, then I've done that before as well. Here's a tip: paint in layers. Feel free to use paint to create light layers of texture. The lighter the layers that you can go here and there helps to create opportunity to bring in depth and contrast to your painting. For me, that helps it to look a bit more realistic as well. For this style of layout, I really want to make sure I'm using very similar colors amongst all three paintings. So I will paint in light layers, and if I have really wet washes, I will work on another painting and then come back and tweak these and add colors wherever I see that I might need them. It's just a good way to create a more realistic painting, I think, and one that is definitely more color cohesive. Creating a harmonious color scheme, I believe, is just going to enrich your layout. So make sure to include all the main colors you're using in all of the paintings. Painting these Black-Eyed Susan petals with some yellow cadmium, I'm going to take that same brush that has the paint on it and go right over to the painting on the right, work on those leaves, and I left purposefully space so I could add some yellows and other tones that I needed to. And you can see I'm adding them to the green leaves as well, taking a bit of artistic license in this painting with the colors. However, I think it looks really nice and ties it all together. As I continue to progress with these paintings, my next tip is to add details for realism, and this time I'm using a Uniball gel pen in white. I love this pen for details. It's fairly opaque, and so it's something that you can use to add in the shine of the berries. Also, feel free to use your paintbrush to add in some details, your pen if you decide that you want to ink, and then you can see I'm also adding some red cadmium in there to tie in, again, those three paintings together. Before we get to our next step, I just want to take a moment and ask you to like the video if it has helped you or inspired you in any way. Also, please subscribe for more nature art and nature journaling. Please feel free to comment with your thoughts and impressions and share the video. That helps me out so much. I really appreciate it. Add text in various sizes. This is such an important step for me because I learned so much. When you vary text sizes, you basically are causing the viewer to look where you want them to look. So obviously your title can be very bold and big, and you can also vary up all the other kind of text that you might be using to draw the viewer in and have them look at something that you want them to read next. By writing inside of this little painting, I'm actually inviting the reader in to learn more about this pearl crescent butterfly. Varying up the text sizes is really a great tool to help your reader and viewer enjoy looking at your nature journal. I hope breaking down this layout into 7 steps will really help take out some of the fear and stress when we're trying to come together and figure out what do we put into these books that are blank and intimidating. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, remember, you are so amazing and creative. Till next time, bye.